In 1944, most infantry rifles still demanded a hand on the bolt after every shot. The American rifle did not. It fired 8 powerful rounds as fast as a trained soldier could recover, aim, and press the trigger again. So did the M1 Garand truly double a rifleman's power? Or has its legend outrun what happened on the battlefield? The question began after the First World War, when armies knew bolt-action rifles were reliable, but also knew their rhythm was slow. A self-loading service rifle promised faster follow-up shots without turning every infantryman into a machine gunner or changing his ammunition. At Springfield Armory, Canadian-born machinist John Garand spent years solving the hard part, making that idea durable enough for ordinary soldiers. The Army tested rival designs, calibers, and mechanisms. In 1932, Douglas MacArthur insisted the new rifle retain America's standard .30 caliber ammunition. Garand's .30-06 design won. Adopted in 1936, it entered production before war and eventually armed American forces on an extraordinary scale. The M1 was not fully automatic. One trigger press fired one cartridge, but the rifle prepared the next shot by itself. Gas tapped near the muzzle drove an operating rod backward. That movement rotated and unlocked the bolt, then carried it to the rear. The spent case came out. The spring drove the mechanism forward, and the bolt stripped a fresh round into the chamber. The result was simple for the user. Keep the rifle shouldered, recover from recoil, reacquire the target, and press again. It fired the same .30-06 family of ammunition used by the Springfield rifle and Browning automatic rifle, easing a major logistics concern. At roughly 43.5 inches and 9.5 pounds, the Garand was substantial, not a light, effortless weapon. Its ammunition arrived in an 8-round En-Bloc clip. Press the clip into the open receiver, and the bolt closed over the first round. After the 8th shot, the empty clip ejected, with the famous metallic ping, while the bolt locked open for the next load. That sound is real. The story that enemies routinely waited for it, then attacked helpless riflemen, is much harder to prove. Combat was deafening. Several rifles fired together, and a soldier could reload before an enemy understood which weapon had made the sound. The ping was a recognizable detail, not persuasive evidence that the M1 carried a fatal battlefield flaw. What mattered more was time. A Kar 98K rifleman had to lift, pull, push, and turn the bolt between aimed shots. A Garand rifleman could maintain his firing position and sight picture. That did not guarantee hits, but it removed an entire manual action. During sudden contact, that difference could mean a faster second shot, more suppression, or less exposure while the enemy was moving. American doctrine still depended on teamwork, especially the Browning automatic rifle. The M1 strengthened the squad. It did not replace the squad's support weapon. In Europe, soldiers carried it through mud, ruined towns, and defensive positions. In the Pacific, it faced sand, volcanic ash, and jungle moisture. No rifle won those campaigns alone, but a reliable self-loader gave each trained rifleman unusually immediate firepower for the period. The advantages had costs. The M1 was heavier than the German Kar 98K, and ammunition in clips encouraged soldiers to carry significant weight. Its fixed clip system was fast from empty, but topping off a partly used rifle was less natural than adding rounds to a bolt-action magazine. Loading also demanded technique. If the shooter released the bolt carelessly, it could slam forward on the thumb, the famous Garand thumb. That was a training hazard, not a mysterious design curse. Correct hand position and control of the operating rod greatly reduced the risk. Like every service rifle, the M1 also needed cleaning, lubrication, sound ammunition, and soldiers who understood how its mechanism behaved. Against Germany's Kar 98K, The clearest contrast was 8 semi-automatic rounds versus 5 rounds and a manually operated bolt. Britain's Lee-Enfield held 10, and trained soldiers could cycle it rapidly. Yet every shot still required movement that disturbed the firing position. Germany's Gewehr 43 was a semi-automatic rival, but it never became the near-universal standard rifle that the Garand became for U.S. infantry. Even that comparison needs context. German squads were organized around the machine gun, while American squads spread more firepower among individual riflemen and the bar. So the M1 did not make one American equal to an enemy machine gun. It made the ordinary rifleman quicker between aimed shots. That narrower claim is still important. Mass issue changed a self-loading rifle from a specialist weapon into the American infantry baseline. General George Patton famously praised the Garand as the greatest battle implement ever devised, a line that helped build its post-war legend. The praise was understandable, but the rifle's real achievement was industrial as much as mechanical. America produced it in wartime millions. The M1 served again in Korea, armed allies afterward, and influenced the M14, which retained much of its operating lineage. Its legacy is not that 8 rounds guaranteed victory. Training, supply, artillery, armor, leadership, and doctrine mattered far more than one rifle. But compared with the standard bolt actions of 1939, it gave ordinary soldiers a meaningful advantage exactly when seconds mattered most. The legend sometimes exaggerates the weapon. The central fact does not. America made reliable semi-automatic fire standard before its enemies could.